Sybiz is launching an all-new leave management module with Sybiz Visipay version 12. If you're still using a cumbersome paper-based process for managing leave requests and approvals, then this module is for you. You can manage annual leave, sick leave, or any other type of leave. All you need to do is create users for your employees, create and assign leave approval groups, configure a couple other settings, and you're on your way. Let's take a look. Okay, as mentioned, we need to assign users to the employees so that they will be able to log in and submit leave requests. But before we do that, we need to make sure there's a role in there to assign those employees to. So I've created one already called Leave Only, and we'll have a little look at that. And you'll see as we tab across that every single right is unchecked. So absolutely nothing they can do apart from participate in the leave management process. So the other point just to mention is the extent of the role, and you just need to ensure that only the middle box there, the applies to user employee, is the only box that's checked. So once we've got our role established, it's then a case of adding users to that role. So again, rather than go through the complete process, I've created a user for Adam, linked it to the employee, and assigned it only to the leave only role. So they won't be able to do anything else unless I chose for them to do something else. Once we've done that, the next thing that we need to do is just duck across to the self-service tab, and I'm logged in with someone with administrative rights at the moment, and set up the approval groups. And again, making life easy, I've already set one up, and this one is just a fairly small company, so I'm not going to bother having multiple leave approval groups, so I'm just calling this one all. I can of course edit it as the company grows and more people need to be involved in the leave approval process, but we have the notion of an approval officer and a delegate approval officer. So if the approval officer is away, then the delegate approval officer can take over the leave process there. So I've already got a few employees linked to that particular role, but I'll show you how to link other employees to that leave approval group in just a moment. So we'll just jump out of there. And there's a couple other leave options that we've got as well. So there's the email facility. So I guess the important thing to note there is that with Payroll, not everyone's logged into it all day every day. So therefore events like someone submitting a leave request, and I guess the other side of the coin there is the employee themselves getting the notifications associated with that leave request. They're not going to be wanting to log in to the Payroll every time just to see in case there has been an update on their leave requests. And there's also another option to allow the approver to approve while away. So if we tick the away box, then it's the approver who's away could still approve as well as their delegate. So some good functionality there. And what we'll do now is just drill down into one of the employees who's currently not associated with a leave approval group. Go to the employment tab and just select the approval group. And because we've only got one in there, it's a fairly easy selection. Save and close, and that employee is now associated with that leave approval group. So now what we'll do is we'll log in as someone who is just allowed to do the leave approval process only. Okay, so let's log in as Adam, who is able to submit leave requests. And I should just point out while it's loading that the leave requests themselves must be submitted by the employee. So just like in a manual system, you can't have other people submit leave requests on behalf of other people within the organisation. It must be the employee themselves that submit the leave request. So apart from a couple rudimentary things on the screen, every other button is greyed out as we tab across. So just showing you that role has kicked in for this particular employee. Now I'll go in and just add a leave request, and you can select any type of leave that's in the system. So I'm just going to select annual leave, and I'm going to make it for the 31st of October. You'll see there's a little warning here saying that the date is later than the end date, and so it won't let you do a silly leave request where you're going back in time. And this is just for a single day, and you can put notes in if you so wish. You don't have to, but if it's unusual leave, you may need to just to explain to the person who's authorising the leave what it's all about. So now I'll submit that request, and now what we'll do is just log back in as someone who is able to authorise that leave. Right, so now we're logged in as Christine, who's the authoriser in the leave approval group, and on the self-service tab there's the ability there to manage leave. So there's a handy calendar view as well, but here we've got the list of pending leave requests, and Christine's got the ability to drill down into the request that Adam's just submitted for the 31st of October, and Christine can either approve or reject that particular leave. And especially in the case of a rejection, there's the ability to define additional notes as well, so that when the rejection goes back to the employee, it's justified and they can understand why it was that it was rejected on that occasion. So we'll keep it nice and simple and just approve the leave, and that's all done. So what will happen now is when we go to process the pays, we'll see how that affects that pay processing situation. So we'll just process the pay for Adam, and we'll just move forward, and you'll see that at this point in time there's nothing to suggest that there's any leave outstanding for Adam. The reason for that is that we're processing the pays for July, and that leave request isn't until October. So we'll just flick forward to the future in just a moment. So now we've jumped into the future, we're now in October, and we'll process pays. We'll just select Adam and OK that, and let's see what happens when we go to process Adam's pay. There's a big orange warning down here saying that there's leave available, and to double click to see the information associated with that. Now, I should just point out that the leave pay items themselves still need to be manually entered, and there's a couple reasons for that. One reason is that it's not always a one-to-one relationship between the leave that's being taken and the amount of pay items that you have available for that type of leave. And the other issue, of course, is if there's leave that spans multiple pay periods, you need to make sure that that leave request can stay active for the next pay run. And also the other most obvious thing is that the leave needs to actually have been taken, so it's a possibility that things have got busy, you've asked the employee to cancel his leave, and he's done so. Therefore, even though the leave request is still sitting there, we don't process it because the leave actually hasn't been taken. So what I'm going to do is just process this leave here, and what that actually does is it archives it, so it says that I'm finished with that leave request now. It's no longer pending, it's no longer sitting in an approved state. I've done everything that I need to do with it, so now it just purely goes into an archive state. And then, of course, for completeness, I should just go in and add a pay item for the employee. Firstly, I'll just reduce the normal pay down, and then add an earnings item for the annual leave, and then process that pay. I should just update the dates there, of course. And again, this isn't automated, and I've mentioned the reasons for that. So we'll just OK that and process, and off we go. So that's essentially how the leave management works in Sybiz Visipay version 12.